Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the February 19th, Nevada, Las Vegas, NBC, MSNBC debate number 9. And we're going to talk about who won this debate and who lost this debate. I will rank every candidate from winner to loser. Let's get into it. All right, who won the debate? All right, I'm going to tell you right now. Pete Buttigieg won the debate last night, but for a very unusual reason. Why did Pete Buttigieg win the debate? Well, one of the things I'm going to tell you is I'm realizing a lot of times now when these debates are won, they're not won with what happens in the debates. They're won at the debates, and they're won in very, very, very unusual ways. Pete Buttigieg won the debate at the start of the debate before a single word was spoken by anyone on the platform. It was absolutely fascinating. So they brought the cameras up. None of the candidates were at the podiums. They had all 6 candidates standing side by side. What a catastrophic mistake. Every single septuagenarian, octogenarian candidate, their managers should have been fighting this tooth and nail to allow this to happen. You cannot have septuagenarians and septuagenarians. You cannot have septuagenarians standing next to Pete Buttigieg. You cannot allow it. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. All right, so here's what happened. In the beginning of the debate, they just pan and they show all 6 candidates just standing together in a nice line. It was over, people. It was over right there. Not only did Pete Buttigieg win just standing in that line, and I'm going to tell you why in a moment, but now I understand every single reason why Pete Buttigieg is the winner of the delegates right now. He is at the top. He is winning the Democrat race in delegates. He has 23 delegates. Bernie Sanders has 21. Elizabeth Warren has 8. Klobuchar has 7. And then Biden has some terribly small number, I think. And then nobody else has any. It's goose egg. Oh yeah, and then Mike Bloomberg has goose egg. Right, so it's the race is rough. I think Biden has 3 delegates, maybe. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So here's the thing, and I was shocked. I was like, why on earth is Pete winning? Right, because I'm a policy guy. I care about policy. I'm like, what is your plan for America? Right, silly old me. Like, if you're going to be president, maybe you should have a plan to help America. Right, and Americans are like, you don't need a plan. What's that for? Right. You just need to do what Pete's doing, and here's what Pete's doing. He's 38 years old, and he's standing next to 70-year-olds. So that's all you need to do to win, right? That's it. So here's the thing. I saw this view, these six people standing in a row, right? And it was literally 4 70-year-olds from left to right, right? 4 70-year-olds in a block. Then Pete Buttigieg and then Amy. And you know what I said to myself? I was like, oh my gosh, I see it right now. It was literally an epiphany. I was like, I see what the American people at the macro level are seeing, okay? They are just in their own lives, and they are going about their business, right? And when they look at this pack of candidates that the DNC is putting in front of them, they're like, are you kidding me? And so if you took those 6 candidates, if you took Warren, Biden, Sanders, Bloomberg, okay, so let's talk about their ages, okay? Warren is 70 years old. Now, I had heard a long time ago that she was 72. I don't know where this 70 is coming from, but Alexa's telling me she's 70 right now, so sorry to say that name. So, yeah, Amazon's device is telling me she's 70. And then Bloomberg and Biden are 78. Bloomberg and Sanders are 78, and Biden is 77. That is it's all septuagenarians, all 70-year-olds, right? And then you have Pete Buttigieg, 38 years old, right? And then you have Amy Klobuchar, she's 59, okay, 59. And when you look at them in a row, I was like, I see it, right? I go to church every single Sunday. And I see a transition that happens every single month. We have a lot of elderly people in our church, and there's a transition that happens. They stop living in their house and they go to a retirement facility. Happens every single month with one member of my church or more, right? And I was like, and I end up in retirement facilities because I got kids, and they end up like doing dance recitals and like singing carols and all kinds of things, and I got to pick them up, and I end up in retirement facilities. And I was like, holy cows, if you take these 6 people on stage and you dress them, and you just dress them in jeans and a nice shirt, right? And you put every single one of them in a retirement facility, and then you take and you put them all into the living room area of a retirement facility, which is large, and you dress all of these people in the same clothes, right? Jeans and a nice shirt, and you spin, and you take an American, just an average American, and you spin them around, right? And you pull their blindfold off, and they have to guess. They're going to go resident, 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 resident. Then they're going to look at Pete, right? And they're going to go, oh, that's somebody visiting their parent or their grandparent. And then they're going to look at Amy, and they're going, oh, that lady, she is a business person here who is answering the retirement facilities questions on how much it will cost to replace all of the equipment in the kitchen, right? And it's going to be $150,000. And she's telling them about their financing options and talking to them about marble options for the counter space. That's the issue. That is why Pete Buttigieg is doing as well as he is, because he doesn't have a single innovative or original policy. Not one. Right? He has no good idea. He has no decent plan for America. Nothing. Right? His entire policy base was scribbled down, copying the candidate to his left 5 minutes before class time. It is the worst. He is not a good politician. Like, and also, like, he ran one town, and it appears that he didn't do that very well at all, right? So I've been like wondering how on earth is he doing so well, right? Well, here's the reason. When Americans are looking, this is all optics. I'm not saying Americans are seeing this right. I'm saying this is what I think Americans are seeing. When they look at 4 70-year-olds, okay, 3 of which, when they are president, they will be 80 years old. They will be octogenarians, right? 3 of these candidates, Bloomberg, Sanders, Biden, are a new American experiment. They will be the first American octogenarian president. An 80-year-old president. It's an experiment. It has never, ever, ever happened, right? And you can say whatever you want about Trump, but he will never be an 80-year-old president, right? And Bloomberg and Biden and Sanders have they offer nothing else but an 80-year-old plus candidate. Like, what? That's like, whoa, wait, what? Like, that's an experiment. You are doing something that has never been done. Right? Like, you're saying, why don't we make the U.S. presidential role an experiment in the time where we need desperately the president to make sure that they execute at a rate, like, the earth is melting, we need the president on point, so why don't we try something we've never done before? Is that a great idea? I don't know. And Americans are like, and they're like, oh, hey, look at that guy, he looks like he could go for 8 years. He looks like he could, that guy over there standing, the 38-year-old, he looks like he could visit a tornado site. He looks like he could stand on the deck of an aircraft carrier in the middle of a storm and not get blown off the deck, right? That guy over there, that 38-year-old, it looks like he could throw out a baseball at a baseball game. That 38-year-old guy, yes, I think yes, if that looks right, I get that. That makes sense. That's not an experiment. That's not an experiment. I would like to not experiment with the U.S. presidential role. Especially when the Earth's melting. Let's do that, right? That is why Pete Buttigieg is surging to the top, right? It's all about age now, and the reason why is the DNC is like, we are absolutely dedicated to octogenarian leadership. We have a block of 80-year-old leadership for you, America. And guess what? It wasn't enough to make sure that you had Biden and Sanders. You need one more octogenarian option, right? You need Bloomberg in there. We need to make sure that this American experiment of what happens when you put an 80-year-old in it when you give American an 80-year-old president, right? And again, they're not 80 now, but they will be 80-year-old presidents, right? Like, and get this, if they get a term, they'll all be 85-year-old presidents. What? Right? Like, that is, oh boy. Yeah, that is like, and guess what? Not only is it an experiment, we already know what the answer is. When you attempt to give America an 80-year-old president, we already have the results. The results are Bernie, October 2019. That's the results back from the experiment. And guess what? The Dems are really hard on the Republicans. They're like, oh, hey, you Republicans, you guys are really, you like to ignore science. Guess what, Dems? You're ignoring science too. You ran your experiment, here's your results, and you're ignoring them, right? Like, you're really, really, really ignoring them, right? You're bringing another octogenarian option to the table. No one needed that. Like, it is completely unhinging rationality and practicality from the election. And this is like, and you can see, and all of this is just serving to put rocket boosters on Pete Buttigieg's campaign. Okay. Now, why is Amy Klobuchar not getting that same rocket booster, right? Why is Pete getting all this rocket booster energy from the octogenarian leadership experiment that the DNC is absolutely dedicated to, and Amy isn't seeing any of this shine, right? Well, it's very, very clear, right? Well, oh, by the way, why isn't Elizabeth Warren? Well, she's a septuagenarian. She's very, very close. And people are like, yeah, resident, not somebody visiting their parent or their grandparent, not a business person replacing all the equipment in the kitchen, resident. Like, that's the optics. It's not the reality. I'm not saying that's the reality. I'm saying it's what I think Americans are perceiving. Okay. And by the way, when it comes to Americans and the election and politics, it's optics, energy, words. The words of these candidates matter last, right? It's the energy they put forward first. It's the optics they present. The optics on the Ukraine thing. It wasn't the facts. It was the optics on how the Ukraine situation looked for Biden that absolutely politically killed him. Okay, it's the energy these people put forward, and last it's their words. Last it's their words, and that's why Yang's gone, right? Because his words. He thought words mattered. He thought plans mattered. He thought intelligence mattered. He thought nobility mattered. He thought courage mattered. None of that mattered. All that matters is optics and energy. Your words matter last, and we're seeing that so clearly now, right? So why is Amy Klobuchar not getting this? Because one, Pete has another tremendous advantage, unfair advantage, absolutely unfair. It's not his fault. Like, he didn't choose to give himself this benefit. It was given to him externally, right? But Pete fits that simple silhouette. 44 of 45 presidents in America have had two attributes, and Pete has those attributes. Amy doesn't, period. That's it. So Pete fits the simple silhouette, that the two attributes that most Americans connect in their mind with what a president should have. And Pete has them. And that's it. That's why he gets on. And that's why when Americans go, oh my gosh, I don't want to make the U.S. presidential role an experiment when the earth is melting, that's why then they're giving their vote and saying, oh yeah, that guy over there, he absolutely can visit, like, 3 years from now when somebody's president. I know that person can stand in the middle of Florida after hurricane wreckage, and if he gets scratched by a nail and has to get, and there's a question of tetanus, he's gonna live. Really, that's literally why he's getting elected, right? Because he's 38 years old and he can stand tall, and they're also like, I know he can give a speech for an hour and a half under the sun. I know he can stand and give a speech in the rain and not to die of pneumonia like 2 weeks later. Like, Pete can last 8 years. That's why he's winning. Period. It's all about age now. Pete won the debate in the first 15 seconds when they made the mistake of putting cameras on all 6 of them, right? Because of the retirement facility image. Who's a resident? Who's a visiting business person? Who's a child visiting a parent or a grandparent? It's clear as day. And Americans, they have parents and they have grandparents, right? And when they think about their parents and their grandparents, they're not thinking leadership, they're thinking care. They're thinking, how am I going to care for this person? That's how Pete won, okay? That's how he won the debate. Boy, oh boy, like, it was so clear. Who else? So, where else? Who came in second? Oh boy. Mike Bloomberg came in second. Big time. And the reason why was the energy from every other candidate. When Mike Bloomberg stepped on stage and every other candidate circled him, it looked like a wolf surrounded by poodles. And they made him look dangerous. Now, I don't think Bloomberg is dangerous, but they made him look dangerous. They made him look politically dangerous. They made him look cool. And they shouldn't have done that, but they did. Bummer. So Mike Bloomberg came in second. Okay, who came in third? Amy Klobuchar, right? Not because of her own performance, but because of a poor Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren has a problem. She was considered she was considered a DNC. She was not a DNC. She was considered a media darling. She was considered to be the prominent, in my opinion, the prominent female candidate. We've never had a female president yet, and so there was kind of a question of which one of these women was going to surge forward, and everybody was like, oh, clearly it's Elizabeth Warren, right? But her momentum has clearly stopped. She's in trouble. And I think she understands it, right? She's actually beating Amy Klobuchar by a little bit, but she's not beating expectations. That's the problem. Amy Klobuchar, everybody expected Amy Klobuchar to evaporate. But the reality is, Amy Klobuchar is gaining momentum. And the momentum of Elizabeth Warren is evaporating. And that's frightening. So last night, Elizabeth Warren went on the attack. And it did not do favors for her. She did not look great on the attack. It just looked kind of, it didn't look great for her. And Amy just stood there graceful and smiled. And in comparison, she looked fantastic in comparison to Elizabeth Warren. I think it's really unfair that those two are running against each other. But until that glass ceiling is fully shattered, I think that's where they're stuck. I'm not a woman, and I'm doing the best I can to fairly and respectfully cover this. If I'm not doing a great job, let me know in the comments below. I definitely want to adjust my coverage if I'm not doing a good job and a fair job of covering that. I'm open to any suggestions. Let me know. And so, excuse me. All right, so Amy Klobuchar came in third. Then, yeah, so you had, all right, who's left? Yeah, it's a good question. Who's left? So you had Pete won, Mike Bloomberg came in second, Amy Klobuchar came in first, and that leaves, I'm remembering Warren, I'm remembering Biden, and there's somebody else in, oh, yeah. Oh, this is rough. Okay, so Bernie Sanders came in fourth, okay? Why is Bernie so low? Bernie, he's crushing it in the polls. He's number two. Like, the race is really between Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders right now, right? So why is he number fourth in the debate last night? Socialism. Socialism is being used as a club by everyone, by the media, everyone but the DNC. It's being used by a club by the media to beat him, to politically beat him about the head, and by his opponents. Bloomberg did it, right? Bloomberg called him a communist right to his face. I was like, whoa. That's a humdinger. That was a left right from the, that was a left, a left hook, political left hook. It was a humdinger. Yeah, it was, woo-hoo. So that's just it. Bernie's the only candidate that comes with a pull here to defeat tab, and it's called socialism. Boy, oh boy. And it made him come in fourth. It's tough. He should have never slapped that socialism label on his forehead. It's killing him politically. All right. Elizabeth Warren, she came in fifth. Her attack mode, I don't think she was wrong to do it. She's really got to gain ground. She's got to come back. She's not sure how she's going to do it. I don't think anybody's sure how she can do it. It was rough. It was very, very, very challenging. She came in fifth. Last is Biden. That dude is gone. Forget it. That dunzo, he's finished. He is finished. He does not matter anymore. And it is my opinion that what really wrecked him was Donald Trump destroyed him with the impeachment. And the reason why is the optics for Biden. It didn't matter. The facts didn't matter. It just, like, when you looked at the whole situation and how he was involved, and his involvement did not look noble. You're like, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? How did that all work out? Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why did that happen? None of it looked good. The optics were horrible. And he's finished. Biden is done. Came in last. All that is my opinion. I'd love to hear what you think. Who won that election? Do you think I'm right? Did Pete Buttigieg win that election? And not for a single word he spoke, but just how tall he stood and how smooth his skin was and how great his hair looked? That's why he won. He's 38 years old. He could stand on the deck of an aircraft carrier in the middle of a storm. That's why he's gonna win. Period. Like, whoo, man, that was an epiphany. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.